All right, it's Tuesday night, and I am back after kind of an eventful week. Had a little bit of an eventful weekend in college hockey, but go hard and fight songs. And Trevor is joining us again, and we are so glad to have him back on the podcast.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, been a little too long.
I
Um,
know, been busy.
but yeah, playing in the ECHL when they let you, I suppose. Um,
Yeah, whenever San Jose takes the leash off.
I mean,
so
what are you still 2-0 with a 1-5?
Yeah, something like that.
so it's not like you don't win games or win awards when you play, but hey,
Yeah,
when the big dog says someone else gets to play, someone else gets to play, I suppose.
yeah, that's kind of the nature of it.
But fun things happen in the NCHC. Mike's team is hanging out down there with Miami.
We're dog shit. We'll just get that out there
You boys are
right off the
in
bat.
the doghouse for sure. 2-6
Uh,
in the conference. Who the hell did you beat?
oh God,
Who
what
did you?
You
happened
know,
to
that's a great question.
Oh,
what
Miami.
what
Never mind. That makes
who?
Oh
total
yeah, that's
sense.
right.
It was like, who did you get? What happened to Duluth when I left? It was like they were a powerhouse.
Dude, they have last couple years they have struggled a little bit. Not more than
Are
this
they
year
are
though.
they going are they going through their Miami of Ohio growing pains?
I think so. I think it's a fairly young team.
Oh,
We've had a few guys get into the NHL recently, but it's a fairly young team. Previous couple years hasn't been any offense really.
Oh,
Goaltending was a little suspect, and then this year the freshman that came in, one was hurt. Uh, the others haven't really been scoring. One was Mr. Hockey in Minnesota. They haven't been scoring, and well, we just have two freshman goalies that are still trying to figure it out with Knapp and Guyon got hurt.
oh. I know Nap a little bit, but I don't know him super well.
Yeah,
But I'd be
Knapp.
interested. How's he been doing?
I think this was the first series that he played. I don't think he had started previously at all. He did all right. Arizona State's they're a solid team. They're they're not world beaters, but they're not bad. They're about where we thought they would be. Guyon, he makes incredible saves, and then there are certain plays you look at it, you're like, what were you thinking there?
Yeah,
So it's a learning process, and I do think they're a young enough team. The leaders, they don't quite have the leaders like a Tufty, like Nia Follow that they did beforehand.
you just
I,
said two people that I hate so much from my college hockey days.
I could tell I
I
struck a nerve there.
oh, especially Tufty. Tufty is a name that I don't know him personally. I'm sure he's a great guy. I hate that guy with a passion. Purely for my junior year, it was one of my only starts I got. Andy put me in, and we started against Duluth, and they were number one in the country. I think I had like 32 saves going into the third, and we were only down 2-0. First 5 minutes, Moldenhauer throws a pizza up the middle to Tufty. Tufty takes a clapper from the blocker side dot, puts it right next to my ear, bar down. So now it's 3-0. I still have over 30 saves. Andy pulls me from the game and just starts yelling at me that I wasn't prepared to play, wasn't ready to play. Basically, we're losing this game because of me.
only
And
the
I'm
number
just
one
sitting
team
there.
in the country.
Yeah, it's only another one team in the country. We're playing like dog shit. And
Dude
I'm
just
like,
puts it
did
right next to my ear. But yeah,
and he put literally like it couldn't have gotten if it had gotten any closer to my ear, it would have hit my helmet. Like it was that close and it went ding and just straight down. And I'm just like, I felt like the what was the movie? Not the spoof of MacGyver, like MacGuber or whatever, MacGruver.
yeah.
And he's just sitting there reciting the license plate of the car that goes by, and he's just no 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 no. Like I was just doing that with Tufty. Like I hate you so much.
At least
But
you
like I
didn't
said,
launch a
I don't
blocker
know
at
the
him.
guy. I was like, I don't know the guy at all. I'm sure he's a great guy. I've heard nothing but great things from other guys that know him. But yeah, in that moment, I've hated that guy.
Yeah, well, and those are tough teams too.
Oh my
I can
God.
I can never remember. There's a third guy, and I can never remember his name. I know it starts with an S. His last name. He's a weird looking dude, but that all
Oh,
those
I know who you're
guys.
talking about.
Yeah, he
Because
kind of.
then, because then you had Perunovic, didn't you? My senior year.
Yep, Scotty was there, and
Yeah,
I know Scotty. He just can't stay healthy.
yeah, he's
Um,
got injury issues.
well, he's so
Eh,
small.
I won the game against Perunovic in the shootout. That's no big deal though.
Yeah, his sister's a rocket. I'm just gonna say that. Not very smart, but that's okay. If your brother's an NHL player, I don't think some of them care that much.
No.
But yeah, not to get sidetracked, but it's gonna be a rough year. I thought there was gonna be a little bit better year from the boys this year at UMD, but
You guys have
they're just trying to figure it out.
you have 24. You have the same number of conference goals as Western does, 24. Half of those were scored in your series against Miami.
Oof.
Yeah, I
You outscored Miami 12-2.
the Friday game against Western, Wes and I did a watch along, and I'm just like, this team is terrible. They're so hard to watch,
Yeah.
and
I mean, I can only imagine that's how Wes felt watching my freshman year and sophomore year. Or no, freshman and junior year, probably watching Western.
Let's see.
and
Your junior year
we
was 2017-18.
Yeah. That was
And
where we kept flip-flopping between Blacker and Austin Kane.
I mean, you got to remember when I started. Well, you don't have to remember because you weren't there yet. But when I started watching Western, they were dog shit in the CCHA.
That's true. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew that, but I never got to see it.
Like I was, 2007 was my very first year at Western, so I've literally been there before the climb to where they are now. And I think the worst year since being in the NCHC was maybe the first or second year in the NCHC,
Mm,
where we actually
I thought
finished, I
that
think, like
no,
seventh or eighth.
I thought the first year oh no, that was the last year. That was Andy's last year that they won the CCHA.
So Andy's first year, we won the CCHA.
Yeah.
Then the next year, Miami won the CCHA,
Oh God, they were a wagon.
and then they won. I think they won the regular season. No, they won the regular season of the NCHC. No, the second year they won the Frozen Face-Off. Miami did something like that. I know, like, right near the end, they were really good right at the end of the CCHA into the NCHC, and Western
Yeah.
was decent, and then we struggled a little bit because I feel like we still had all of these CCHA players
Yeah.
that weren't necessarily built for the NCHC, but once we got into like getting NCHC type guys, the program turned around quite significantly.
Yeah.
I think one last thing, just because I was thinking about it, it was the Minnesota series that we played between periods. Might have been Dominic James, the reporter. She's interviewing him. Any positives to take out of this? I know it was a rough period. He goes, "Nope, nothing for me," and just walked. Like, well, that's
Sometimes you
pretty
just
Uh,
got
much
to say
it.
no.
that is, yeah, from a player's perspective too. Sometimes you just got to be like, when you're just getting your ass kicked, and there's like, is there any positive you can take from this? Like, you try to give the company line of, we can always grow, we can really, we got these few things that we can build off of, but sometimes you're just getting worked, and you just got to be like, no, we just got to scrap this, throw it in the trash, and never talk about it.
Yeah, and
That
I
or
mean,
that or we watch the replay one time, we talk about it, and we never talk about it again.
Yeah, it looks like
yeah,
15-16 was the absolute worst year that since the NCHC. That was
That was my freshman year.
825-3 overall, 6-17-1 in the conference.
Woo.
With a 4-game losing streak.
And a
I think
couple double-digit goals against games. Yeah.
6-2 to Clarkson. Hey, we did beat Omaha. We did sweep Omaha at Lawson, 4-3 and
Yep, I remember
6-1.
that. I remember
Most of
that.
the students probably don't remember it though.
No, God, no.
Ooh, that was Halloween weekend, so yeah, probably not.
No, God,
I
no,
mean,
they don't remember
Definitely
that.
not.
Definitely
there's
not.
a high probability that students actually remember a lot less games than anyone else in the building. Dude,
I'm
that's right, we got fucking smoked by St. Cloud at Lawson,
smoked by St. Cloud,
5-2 and
smoked by
11-1
there was what was the final of the Notre Dame game in the Notre Dame tournament? I'm trying to remember.
in the
Because
Shillelagh
all I
tournament.
remember
Oh, that
was
was only
that
3-1.
no,
You guys straight lost to him 7-1, and then
ah,
had
yeah,
a
there it is.
and then had an overtime
Because it was in
win.
the Notre Dame tournament. Hafner started. Hafner got pulled after the first. Olson went in. Olson got pulled after the second. Hafner went back in for the third.
That was just a regular game in South Bend. It was January 8th. It was a home and home. You guys only lost 1-3 in the Shillelagh tournament. You lost to RPI the first night and Notre Dame the second night, which means Notre Dame lost in their own tournament.
Hilarious.
Yeah, they lost their own tournament. I
They
could have
lost their
swore we
own
got
tournament a lot because I think Western won it like the first year.
I thought we got our asses kicked that game.
You lost to 7-0 to Minnesota Duluth the game after that.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Dude, how bad was Colorado College that you guys beat them 7-3 and 5-3?
They were really bad.
They were really bad.
I my freshman year, Colorado College was one of the worst teams. Like that, and that was saying something because we were one of the worst teams.
Yeah, it was a race to the bottom.
No, it was, and then Miami out of nowhere from being a powerhouse my freshman year to just being terrible the rest of my time there.
Did you know that since they went to playing the last weekend of the season being rivalry weekend? God, I hate that fucking word. Western has not lost to Miami on the last weekend of the season.
Wow. I mean,
It's
I still have my unbeaten streak against them.
yeah. But I mean, they've lost like the series, like the first series of the year every once in a while,
Yeah,
or like one game of that series every once in a while. But when it's the last 2 games of the year, they haven't lost to Miami in like 6 years
nice. That's always good.
on the rivalry weekend.
Yeah, rivalry.
Yeah, dude, I like okay because we dog on Miami so much, but knowing that we have 4 games against Miami in the second half of the season and we're sitting at the top of the NCHC is just like an extra Christmas present under the tree this year, right?
Yeah, a little
Like
bit when you sit there and you see those games. But at the same time,
you can't take them for granted,
yeah,
you
because
know.
that's what we did my senior year against Colorado College. They were in the basement and then came down to the end of the season and Colorado College was like the hottest team in college hockey at that point.
Yeah, they've done
I
that
mean,
to us twice.
they like I'm pretty sure they in that my senior year, I'm pretty sure they like swept Denver or they split with Denver and like then beat somebody else and like swept the weekend against somebody else and then they came in to play us and we were like, "Oh, this isn't the terrible team that we saw 2 months ago."
No, yeah, had to go 3 games and lost the third. And I think that was the one. Yeah, that was the year it got delayed a day because of the weather. So it was
Yep.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday,
Yep.
and I was like racing from work to the stupid game, painting my face in the parking lot somewhere.
And we lost
Lost.
we lost Saturday and Monday almost identically.
Yeah.
Where we came out like, "Oh, it's going to be easy. We're going to win." And then we give up an odd man rush at the end of the game with like no time on the clock, like last minute of the game. And you're like,
Yep. Those were fun times. I hate Colorado College so much. Just because of those 2 series, the 2 playoff series, I fucking hate those teams. I respect the shit out of all the players on those teams, but God, I fucking hate them at the same time.
I used to hate them back end of the WCHA and beginning of the NCHC, right when like JT Brown was playing for UMD and those guys, because CC they were one of the top teams, and then
Mm.
they just straight fell off a cliff.
yeah,
Still, one of my favorite moments was I went to UMD game against CC. Kid went to go catch the puck up in the air and just got shoulder to chest absolutely flattened. And then it goes to a TV timeout, and I looked at the CC bench, and all his teammates were giving him shit. I'm like, as you should, because that was just a really dumb play to make. It's like a wide receiver going across the middle, just
Yep.
boom.
Yep.
My favorite memory against Colorado College is when Tim absolutely flattened the dude on the blue line, picked up the puck and scored on him. Like I think last year or 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, that
Absolutely.
was a good.
I think it was 2 years ago because I think Cole Gallant was the dude who passed him the puck after he absolutely flattened the dude right on the blue line, and then picked it up and absolutely dunked on whoever their goalie was. Actually, when we flew out to Colorado College and you guys mud stomped on the second night was pretty fun too. After it was a close game the Friday, but that Saturday game was a bullying.
yeah.
It's always nice to bully people in sports. In sports games.
Yeah, in sports, sure.
Well, you're like a younger brother, and I've heard that. Well, I've experienced the bullying of younger brothers from the younger brother side of things. So it's nice to bully people from what would be the older brother side. Really, just helping you toughen up, even though you have an older brother of your own. He
I am the
clearly didn't
younger
do a good
brother.
enough job.
I am the older brother.
Oh well, then you definitely need to be bullied a little more. So it all works out in the end. It's like a circle, a big old circle. But here we go. So the reason I brought you on here, because Western's in a unique place where we have two extremely talented goalies who seem to be doing well, splitting time. If you in either position, and I guess like my thought here is, the team, depending on how the Friday night game goes, right? Like the team is generally going to push a little harder if they've suffered the Friday loss.
Yeah.
Is there more of an advantage to having your more experienced goalie play the second night versus the first night? Because they're saying like, you give them an opportunity to see the team, see kind of how the experienced goalie handles it, puts together kind of like a game plan, what he's seeing, what he's doing. But I feel like you're doing that enough during the week, and they're not gonna. You might have a cleaner shot at seeing what your rookie goalie does. I mean, he's handling the pressure well. I'm not trying to talk bad about Hampton or the strategy as it's been. I'm just wondering if there wouldn't be some advantage to having your experienced guy go that second night.
You know, it's kind of hard because you weirdly you can watch as much video as you want. And video is great. It's a great tool. But there is something to be said whether you're sitting the bench and you're watching your team and you're seeing how your team plays against the opposing team, and you see how your system works, how everything works, and how they're going to play against it. And even if you're not playing, you get a better understanding of what they're trying to do. And you get a better, so it's even a better pre-scout than watching all the video of, oh, this is how they play against St. Cloud, and this is how they play against Duluth or North Dakota. And it's like, okay, well, how are they going to play against us? The other side of that is not that, like you said, Hampton hasn't been any slouch on his own, but with Rowe, more than likely you're going to get the win, and so you're only playing a 2-game weekend. Would you rather start off with a win, or would you rather be battling for a win in the second game?
Well, I guess like my thought is if Hampton is what he appears to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's made saves that are just stupid, and he's played extremely well. He has a very good understanding of the game and positioning and where he should be. My thought is you're getting them clean, and in a game where both teams come in and Friday always seems there's a little bit more feel out period, that first period, no matter who it is, whether they're traveling from Colorado or Arizona,
Yeah.
or it's just Miami coming up the road. But that first series, you're always like, all right, what does this new team look like that we didn't see last year?
Mm-hmm.
If Western wins Friday, you're going to get more of a battle Saturday, no matter what. Whether it's they know that they're getting the second, because Denver, they had lost 2 straight coming into the weekend. Friday night, they get handed a loss pretty handedly, honestly, other than the last 3 minutes where Western lets them have two with a couple extra skaters and some weirdness. But like, okay, that team's definitely going to have more of a push Saturday. If they weren't getting pucks to the net, there's now going to be an emphasis to drive the net, to chip pucks in, to aim for rebounds, to just jam and kind of put more pressure on the goalie, whether it's through shots or just crowding his view, shooting from different angle type things. Just kind of throw the defense into a muck too, that it wouldn't be beneficial to have that more experienced guy who's either seen some of these teams or seen some of the shots.
I mean, you can play that game all day. I think by just looking at it, the thought process is probably yeah, they like First knows what he's got in row. Like he
Right.
knows, okay, I could play row every single game and we're gonna win most games. But row's gone after this year. So if you were to play row all season and give Hampton only a handful of games against the guys that out of conference games that don't really matter, they're not big games, they're not any, whatever. You're not really seeing what he has. You're not really seeing his potential. You're not really seeing like you see his potential every day in practice, but you're not seeing him in games and you're not going, can this kid handle the pressure? Can this kid steal us games? Can this kid win us games? Can he make the normal saves? Can he make the big saves? So when you've got a guy like Rowe who is just a steady workhorse that has just played so many games, been so consistent, so good, you know what you've got in him. And you're trying to have this feeling out period of you got this kid, NHL draft pick, supposed to be real good, this, that, and whatever. He's going to be our guy at least for the next couple of years, hopefully. Well, now I can't just go, well, hey, Hamps, you're not really going to play this year, and then you're going to be the guy next year and have no clue what you're going to be like. So my thought is if you're putting him in a little bit more of the high pressure situations and the situation type games, if he's handling that pressure early on, you've got something special in that kid. But if he crumbles, you're sitting there going, okay, down the road, I go back to row. And maybe so say the first few games or first like month of the season or so that and first is going row Friday, Hamps Saturday. And Row's getting the win, Hamps is struggling. Maybe later in the year to continue to get Hamps games, you start Hampton in the first game where it's that more feeling out. It's a little bit of an easier game, get him the wins, and then you put Rowe in the high pressure because he's been there, he's handled it, he's done that. But in this case, you've got a kid that's handling that high pressure and succeeding. So now you're going, okay, now I've got two rocks that I can rely on. Because like we were talking about before the show, St. Cloud's goalie, or if he is hurt, you've got a red shirt freshman that's only played 3 games going into the Ralph. That's not a fun place to be when you've played only couple games. And now you're going into one of the hardest buildings in college hockey outside of Lawson to play a big game.
Yeah.
And you're in a pretty good spot too as St. Cloud. So you're going, hey kid, gonna need a big game out of you. Oh, well, that's all well and great. But if you've got a kid that's been able to handle this pressure, say something happens, God forbid, happens to Rowe, Hampton's ready to step up and play those games and play in those high leverage situations and those high tense moments and come out big. And it also just sets them up for the future. I mean, it's showing Firsch what Hampton's got and how he's ready to take over when Rowe's gone.
And I think you can do that more when you have an experienced goalie like Cam, where at the start of the year, if you have two freshman goalies or a freshman and a sophomore
Mm-hmm.
that maybe the sophomore struggled, uh, you're not going to be able to athletes are routine based.
Hmm.
Everyone has a routine. So you have two freshmen or a freshman and a sophomore. I'm used to playing Fridays, not really prepared for Saturdays. Now you have a goalie like Cam that you can do that switch later in the
Hmm.
year where, okay, the first half of the year we'll go to Christmas break, see how
Yeah,
Hampton handles this. But I know if I want to switch it, Cam can handle it. He's always going to be prepared. Where
exactly.
a freshman, if you have the two young kids, they're going to be, what? Now my whole
Yeah,
routine is off for everything, and they might freak out a little bit. So that's the nice part where Western's at. You have an experienced goalie, but a young goalie, and you can make that change. And Cam's just going to come in business as usual because he's done it in the Big Ten. He's done it here. He knows what he's doing. And oh, okay, I'm not playing today. That's fine. I'll just prepare the same way tomorrow. It's not going to throw me off that much.
exactly. And I'm looking up something real quick because I was wanting to double check this before I made put my foot in my mouth because it's a perfect example of the same idea. So what year? I just want to double check something before I say it. 2019, 2020. Yep. So perfect example of this, Lundqvist and Shesterkin. Lundqvist last year with the Rangers was 2019. He played 30 games, 26 starts, 10 wins, 12 losses, and then whatever. Shesterkin played 12 games, 10 wins, 2 losses. So you've got that incumbent in Shesterkin, and you've got your absolute rock of a guy in Lundqvist. Yeah, can Lundqvist play 50 games? 100% he can. He's done it. He did it almost his whole career. But Lundqvist is getting his time is running out. You got your next guy. You're not going to just have your next guy sit there on the bench and play 0 games and then go, all right, kid, it's all you now. You're going to sit there and you're going to play some games. You're going to maybe you play Shesterkin a couple games in a row where you put him against those bigger opponents and be like, see if the kid's worth the hype. But you got to put that feeling out process. You got to have that. It's a healthy competition. So there's the difference between a healthy competition like this, where first, and especially like a guy like Rowe who's been around long enough, knows, okay, hey, I'm out of college hockey at the end of this year. I can't come back and play more. So he knows he's done. So he's like, I need to just do my job, do the best I can, put up the best numbers I can, do the best I can for my team, obviously, but also by doing all of those things, put himself up for success to move on. At the same time, if Rowe is smart and everything I've heard, he's a great guy. He's talking to Hamps and going, hey, this is what you need to do. This is how this is going to work. You're going to kind of be the guy. You're going to start to take over. You're probably going to play all the games next year. This is what you need to expect. And so getting that healthy competition of like, all right, I go Friday, you go Saturday, I get the win, you better get the win. And you kind of have that good competition of seeing, and this is where it sounds bad, but it's not meant in that way. The one going out the door and the one that's coming in. It's not like the over the hill or anything because he's can't come back for another year, but that's the best
Mhm.
comparison is one that's about to go over the hill and you got your next one that's just starting to climb. So you got to have that little bit of put him in the pressure situations and see if he can cook. Because if he falters, you make that simple switch, like Mike was saying. You make that simple switch. Rowe can handle playing the more pressure situation games, the Saturday games, and you let Hampton take more of the easier kind of feeling out kind of game, where it's a little more delicate. It's a little more like let's kind of just back and forth and not as many grade A's, not as much crash in the net. It's a little bit more, like you said, the feeling out process. But I think by just throwing him into the fire and seeing how he does, it's a little old school, but Firsch is a little old school. I mean, he really understands his players and understands how to get the most out of them. But at the same time, he's also going to go, show me what you got. So you can either rise to the occasion or you can fall. But he knows he's got Hampton for next year. So if, say, Hamp struggles, he's got to be like, all right, how do I change this? But so far he hasn't.
Yeah, I know. He's
Um,
played. I mean, his games have been one at Ferris. That was his first game, 5-1 win. He had the Boston College game, which was a one-off game, 2-4 there. One goal went into the empty net, so he gave up 3 that night. A win at Omaha,
you know,
1-1 tie against Caden Emberico and the Colorado College Tigers. 4-1 win over Duluth. 2-1 loss at Yost in Michigan, and a 3-2 overtime loss to Denver.
so I mean, those are pressure situations. I mean, I can tell you if going into Yost isn't exactly a fun building to go into play. Um, I mean, I'd be interested to see how he does when he goes to North Dakota, when they go to North Dakota,
Yeah, we have series against North Dakota. That's a home
because
game.
that's I mean, well, going to North Dakota is almost like a rite of passage. Like if you get a game in your freshman year at North Dakota, especially as a goalie, that's a that one tugs on you a little bit because you sit there and you're used to the crowd at Lawson. And like I went to Duluth and everything like there, and they had a great crowd. But I mean, I don't know if they do it anymore. But when I took the ice for that game in Colorado, or not Colorado, at the Ralph, and they announced now bringing out your fighting, and they like basically whispered Hawks, and then the entire arena just yelled Sioux at the top of their lungs. I was like, oh shit, this is real. And it was not a pretty game. Let's just say that. We'll leave it there. Anybody wants to look it up, I hate you, but you can. Um,
Oh,
we
we
can't.
definitely have.
I know. You got. We can't be friends if you talk about it.
No, I have other
But
other games at the Ralph that I like talking about way more.
oh yeah, me too. But that's the point. Is if you have a kid that's up to the challenge and up to the pressure, you got something special for next season. So it's like it's a little bit. It's tough to, especially in the college world, it's hard to sometimes explain to people this is a move for down the road. Like obviously everybody's like, why aren't we starting what? Let's say Hamps maybe didn't struggle but wasn't getting the wins early in the year. Let's say he was going 0-3, but he was playing well. And people are like, why are we starting him? Why don't we play in a row every game like we did last year? Because Rowe's leaving, and we need this kid to know how to play in these moments. And if he doesn't know how to play in these moments, I don't know what to expect.
Well, and I think your point too with going to North Dakota, I just had to look it up. They have the third largest arena in college hockey as far as capacity goes. Uh, Value City Arena for Ohio State, and then the Kohl Center for Wisconsin.
Hmm.
They're the only two that are larger. And as crazy as it gets at Lawson, or it can get any other place, this is 11,600 people that
Hmm.
probably 11,000 of them are North Dakota fans.
Oh, more than that.
Maybe less than that, or well, more than that are North Dakota fans, less opposing fans. You told the story, you're standing out there and you're basically shitting a brick on the blue line. That's how do you handle that? And
Exactly.
how do you try to block out, even though it's impossible to do, how much can you block out of
Yeah.
and just
I mean,
focus on stopping the little vulcanized rubber thing flying at your face?
and I mean, just talking about the Ralph in general. I mean, I never got to play at Ohio State. I went when I was a kid to a game at Wisconsin. I mean, now I'm playing pro. that's one of the nicest rinks I've ever been in. I mean, the Ralph is nicer than some of the arenas I play in now in the ECHL. I mean, it puts every like almost most rinks out of the water. I mean, I would rank it at least somewhere as good as some NHL rinks. It is that nice. It is that same feel as if you're playing an NHL game, and it's a college game. And these people are just rabid fans because there is absolutely nothing else to do in
Nope.
North Dakota. So this is all they have. All they have is the University of North Dakota. And they are like, I am all in. And you are, I mean, you talk about coming into a hostile territory. That's hostile. I mean, Lawson's tough, and it's always one of the best college hockey rinks in the country and in the fans. But when you have that many people screaming at you and just praying you make one mistake, game changer.
It's they I Wes and I we've talked about it a bunch. The North Dakota fans, they're insufferable. And it's
They're like Yankee fans.
yeah, and I grew up there's I don't know, it's like a 5 hour drive. So people are North Dakota fans. There was an old timer a few years ago that almost got into a fight. Uh, it was UMD North Dakota, and he almost got into a fight with a kid that was in the Air Force ROTC because this old timer wouldn't shut up. And finally, the kid goes, "Will you please just shut the fuck up?" And the guy's like, he's ready to fight. He's like 75 years old. I'm like, oh dear God. But they care about it that much that they're willing to just go to blows over it.
Yeah.
It it's it's amazing if you play for them, but
Oh,
terrible if
yeah.
you
And
don't.
that's the thing is like if you don't, that's all that hostility is coming at you from the moment you touch the ice.
But then I think I like to think this at least for the majority of them. You touch the ice, they hate your guts, they wish you just die on the ice, but off the ice, hey, good game, kind of the Minnesota Midwest thing. Like, hey,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
I think the majority of them,
I don't know.
unless you
Mm,
unless
I
you
got
run
some pretty
somebody.
I was like, I got some pretty, vicious messages the night after or the night I shut him out, and then the night after I swept him. I got my inboxes were filled with some colorful comments from North Dakota fans. Um, but again, that comes with the territory. And again, that's no different than being a fan of your favorite, whatever, a professional team.
Hmm.
Goes the same way. It's the same thing. Some people are the fanatics and other people are the diehard fans, but they're like at the end of the day, you're like, hey, you played a great game, you beat us. And you're like you sit there and you can respect that. But
Yeah, I go
yeah,
back and forth with my boss's wife. She's from Green Bay, and so
oh, that's just
obviously
insufferable.
she's actually a very good Packer fan,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah.
we will give each other a hard time, but at the end of the day, we're like, oh, you played a good game, and
And you're both
you know,
behind the
I,
Lions, so it doesn't really matter.
well, yeah, you can.
My
I can say
honorary
that for the
team
first time in my life, so suck
since
it,
my
Mike.
since my Rams don't exist really anymore in St. Louis. I got my honorary team that I adopted.
God, my teams are just beating all of your teams except your stupid Wild and your Minnesota Twins. But the Tigers did make the playoffs and the Twins didn't, so suck on that one too.
Well, that's
Yeah,
true. They did.
because we decided that we were going to cut payroll by $30 million and announce it to the fans, and that was a really good decision.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's all right. I'm a Cardinals fan, so I'm in the same boat as you right now, Mike.
see, the Wild
It's a shit show down there in St. Louis.
and the Wild are only going to get stronger. But luckily,
Yep.
that just means that this was most likely Steve's last trip to Kalamazoo, and I'm okay with that. He can go play pro for the Wild next year, and I won't have to deal with him anymore, and he can be your favorite player.
I'm still mad at Tristan though. He
Dude,
didn't
oh,
convince him.
dude, Tristan got absolutely trucked all weekend. They were beating the tar out of him. Oh man, that sucked for him. He was getting run like every play he was out there, and it didn't matter what line like he was playing against for Denver. They were just like, "Oh, there's Tristan. He was here last year. Fucking get him, boys!" Dude, it was so bad. I felt so bad for him, but he just kept
You
popping
know,
up and skating away, and I was like,
it's one of
if he would
those
have scored
like
a
it,
goal, I have never wanted. Actually, that's not true. Who is it? I wanted Tristan to score so goddamn bad, though. I'll tell you that. The only player I
you
may have
know,
wanted to score more was Trevor Bishop because he went 2 years without like a point. I was like, come on,
oh
just get
yeah.
one. Just get one.
I mean, if you're gonna do a transfer portal, you can't transfer to a team in the same division, like
I,
same conference. You can't.
dude, we have
You
so
can't
many.
do it.
We have
I
so
know,
many.
but I'm just saying, like, you can't. But here's what I'm saying: if you do, you got to know it's coming.
Oh yeah.
Like that's no different
Well,
than like that's like no different in baseball. If a guy from the Cardinals got traded to the Cubs,
and guess
you
what?
know or not even traded. Like he
Well,
decides at
signed free agent.
free
Yeah.
agency. He signs with the
Yeah,
Cubs and like with almost the same offer.
but
You know, like first at bat,
oh,
he
he's
is
getting
wearing a
plugged.
96-mile-per-hour fastball to the
He's
ribs.
getting plugged. But
Oh,
I guess like,
and it's coming, and you're sitting there going, "You chose them."
but do you take into account that like may the parting like who was the pushing party in the departure, or is it you could have gone like, and how many teams are looking at you uh
You know,
into account, or are you just like, nope, that dude's wearing the enemy colors, and would it even have mattered what team he was on at that point? Like, we're just gonna run you because we know you type of thing, and it's just good-hearted bullying. Because as soon as like when the game was over on Saturday, he did get an extra good like, hey, an extra dap up from like all the dudes that he had played with last year, and he had won a national title with those dudes. So like, they had played well together, but it was just
yeah,
the
you
system
know,
where it was going, and maybe he didn't fit, so he had to find somewhere else, and Western was
and
more than happy
again,
to take him.
that part it is all factors. I'm so behind on the transfer portal stuff. Like to me, I'm still in the dark ages of it, of where you had to sit out a full year before you could even play. Um,
I think what we've learned is that it feels or looks so one-sided because of the way the portal was announced when it first started. So like back in your day, not to make you feel old, but I'm older than you, so suck it, youngin. But back in your playing days, your college playing days, because you're still
yeah,
playing.
thank
Yeah.
you.
So back in your college playing days, you had to request permission to transfer, and the
Yep,
coach could deny it, or there could be a conversation, or if the coach accepted it, then like somebody else could deny it higher up the food chain, and there was a path you had to go if you were the one who wanted out. So
yep.
the transfer portal was meant that like you just told somebody you were transferring and they just put your name in the portal. There's no more I have to okay it, you have to get it signed off. You can just go. So it became kind of like the negative push was that like players are just jumping in. Like it's players, 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 players. Not realizing that there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff where it's like maybe it's a player, or maybe
Yeah.
the coaching staff, maybe there's a new coach coming in and he's like, oh, I'm not going to get playing time. And the coach has made it pretty clear, like, hey, you were under the last coach. We're not running that style here anymore. You're not going to really fit. You can
And that
either stay and try and earn your spot back, or you can look somewhere else and see if there's a spot for more playing time or a better spot somewhere else.
and that part makes complete sense. I just to see it every year is just so odd, you
Oh,
know, to just go, here's your roster for this year. And then the next year, you've got like three guys that were on the team the year before,
yeah.
but nothing else has changed. Like the coaching staff didn't change. Um, whatever else changed. Like, so it's like, and they had a good year the year before and this, that, whatever. So it's like, to a point, I see like obviously, yeah, if things are changing, the system's changing, the coach is changing, whatever's changing. Yeah. If it looks like that, but at the same time, from a player, it almost looks like title hopping, you
Oh, yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to try
Mhm.
and join the team that I think is going to win the national championship.
But there's
You know?
certainly some of that for sure, or like there's also certain guys who maybe they weren't looked at by football is the easiest way to do it. You use that for your big comparison because that's where most of this happens. You look
Yeah.
at Jaden Reed, who plays for Green Bay. He started his career at Western, had pretty solid receiving years, got kind of outgrew the Western program or didn't think he was going to get seen here, even though we've had top 5 draft picks from the wide receiver position come through Western Michigan. We've had Super Bowl champion wide receivers come through Western Michigan. So I'm not saying you're not going to get seen, but he thought he
Yeah.
would have greener pastures and signed a Big Ten deal at Michigan State and did whatever Michigan State did the last couple of years, which I don't think was really anything super duper overwhelming, but went and played there. Or, you see a number of guys who go to Alabama, and Alabama puts like 85 guys into the NFL every year. So they want that opportunity. And then if they
Yeah.
realize it's not working out there, they go to a smaller school and try and build back up. Or
Yeah.
It's there's a very big difference between uh moving up. So I'm big goal for basketball since I know kind of my dad coached one of the kids on the team. There's a guy who's in his 8th year of college basketball. He missed 2 years with knee injuries,
Mm.
but still, uh, he started D2, then moved to mid major, and now he's here. It's one thing moving up, or like a person going from Miami to North Dakota, because yeah, he was going to get noticed, but he's not getting the wins. And
Hmm.
it's like, what am I doing here? I'm facing 50 shots a night. I'm just burning myself out, not getting the results that I should be getting. I'm
Yeah.
going to go to a team that will actually help me get these wins. Uh, but you have the guys, it's okay. I played, or well, Sam Coangelo, Northeastern. He decided, well, Western might be more helpful to me for my development as a goal scorer. Perfectly fine. Okay, well, I started off at Minnesota. We were worried about this safety who was like Big Ten freshman of the year. Is he going to leave? Starts off at Minnesota. Then maybe he goes to Georgia and then doesn't work out at Georgia. He'll go to Clemson or so now you don't even know when they do those Sunday night football intros which school the guy's going to pick because he's been to about 6 different schools in 2 years.
Yeah.
well,
It's
I mean, there's that dude from Miami who's on his 9th year of college football.
Yeah.
9th year senior playing tight end for the Miami Hurricanes. Like, dude, just fucking graduate already. Go play in the CFL.
I think our punter was like 36 years
Okay,
old
well,
for
that's
the
completely
Gophers.
different than a tight end and a punter. And the punter was probably from like Australia or something.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah. All right. Different. No, this dude's trucking 17, 18-year-olds and thinking he's top dog. He's got like 5 college touchdowns in 9 years. All right. Like, just go play in the CFL or the UFL. Like, stop it.
So basically every D3 college hockey player just
No,
trucking
because
18-year-olds in the dorms.
well, I think they still have the same number of eligible years. And the
They
fact that
do, but
there's
I'm not talking about hockey at this
I'm
point.
aware of what you're
I knew
talking about. I'm
I'm
refusing to
sitting there.
let
I'm
you
like,
derail the
I was like,
train.
I know where you're going with this.
We're keeping the train on its tracks here, all right?
Their tracks?
I don't know. I think trains go on tracks. I don't know.
Well, they do. I just meant, do we have a track, or are we just, like?
No, we haven't had a track since we talked about how terrible my team is.
Your team is bad. A lot of your teams are bad. You got a lot of bad teams. You're a fan of a lot of bad teams. And
Yeah, but I'm watching a good one right now.
subpar coaching. I feel like I really got my wish when PJ Fleck left Western. I was like, I hope he doesn't. I was like, I don't wish bad on the man, but a lifetime of mediocrity would be just fantastic. And that appears to be what he has done with Minnesota football.
Oh, there's nothing better than when somebody like does that, but like you don't wish bad on him because like
No.
he's like, oh, he's a great guy, this and whatever. I hope he just goes the rest of his career just middle of the road. Just plateaus and just goes straight across
Yep.
and never has like a another big like death like big win separation season. He's
Yeah.
always something like 7-5
Makes bowl
or
games. He's
like a
7
good
and
6 a couple times, just right in the middle. Like
yeah.
there's nothing better than that. Like you just get a guy like again, same like I go back to baseball because I'm a big baseball guy. You have a great pitcher that did well for you, and then he signs with a different team in free agency, and you're like, I don't wish bad on him. I just hope he goes like 5-5 and has like a 3.5 earned run average, something like that for the rest of his career.
Yeah, that'd be cool. No.
What
We
Wes?
have pitchers. They pitch decently well for Detroit when they go and win World Series at other places.
Yeah, but he was a loser. Don't talk about Flaherty. That guy's a loser.
I wasn't. I was talking about any of the 4
Verlander.
others that did it: Verlander, Scherzer,
Well,
Porcello. you know,
But
yeah,
Wes, you do have to cheer for Minnesota just so you can in the bowl game,
I do
just so
not.
you can
I do not.
no, just so you can see PJ get doused in mayo.
No, I do not.
ooh, actually, I might root for that one.
Mm.
I think they play Virginia Tech, and yep, the winning coach gets doused in a giant bucket of mayo.
Now
Eh,
I'm more about the Pop Tart Bowl and the winning team getting to eat a giant Pop Tart that's toasted.
that's kind of cool.
Shocker.
The mascot dies. Did you guys see that last year? That shit was so
No.
Yes.
dumb.
Yes.
So dumb. Oh man. Ugh. So much fun. I wish, dude, college hockey needs some shit like this. There should be, well, I guess you can't really do it because they all just go to the pros after their season's done. Like, how cool would it be to have like a college hockey, like Pro Bowl or like Senior Bowl type thing?
Yeah,
You know?
be
Like,
pretty
I mean,
entertaining.
it
or like, what
would
was
be,
it?
but
Or like, do you even do like a little thing like they used to do with like, what was it? Like the McDonald's, like All Americans or something? Where it might even have
yeah,
been like the kids out of high school, or it was like the college players got to do like a dunk contest or like the three
Yeah,
point shooting
yeah,
thing.
or you do something like almost like an all-star game kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I think I would be more about a skills competition than just an
Yeah.
all-star game.
Well, that's what we're
So
talking
yeah,
about. But
like
you mean
Fun.
make
Yeah.
like a couple day thing or do you know?
like right after the Christmas break or right before the Christmas break, you bring it like right after like everybody's games are done because college usually has like what, like a week off.
I
Well,
think we have
there's there's a couple
like
games that
10
play
days
next
or
week,
something.
and then Western
Yeah.
doesn't play this weekend. They have 3 weeks off until the GLI, and then they're in the
So
GLI, and they play 4 games in like 6 days.
so okay, settle down.
No,
That's
they have the
when you turn pro, saying 4 games in 6 days is like that's every week.
yeah, okay. They have the GLI Sunday, Monday. Then they have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off. Then they have are they at home or they're at home. Then they have games Friday and Saturday.
Wes, our team just played 15 games in November.
I was
I
gonna
don't know if
say
you I don't know. I was like, I don't know if you know this. There's 30 days in November.
I
We
was
played 15 games.
gonna say yeah, but you're
and you
you're
you had
also
3 this
you're
weekend.
you're also
Yeah.
paid to play, but technically they are now too. So that
I
argument
was
doesn't
like,
really work anymore.
yeah. So
You're a professional, Trevor. These are still children. Well, some of them. Very few of them
but my
actually.
point would be, I think that would be a cool thing is if you had like in the Christmas break time, you take the leading goals against guys or whatever you want to do, however you want to pick the categories. You play, you do a skills competition. You play like a little dinky all-star game where you just kind of play the best college hockey players against each other, like all in one team. And then they get a couple days break and then they go back to their teams. That brings more notice to those teams that maybe those players that are on those smaller teams that don't have this much coverage or whatever, to those conferences that aren't as big and powerhousey conferences like the Big Ten or the NCHC, or Hockey
Yeah.
East. You get those kids from those smaller schools that maybe get a little pushed down because they're not as good, but they're like, this kid's a damn good player. Like this kid's in 10 games got 9 goals and whatever number of assists, but he gets overlooked because he's playing against this guy, and this guy who are averaging 2-3 goals a game.
That's not a bad idea. Conference 3-on-3 tourney.
You could do any sorts of things, but a
That
lot
was,
Yeah.
in the
that was
sense
a-
of like,
that was thrown in the chat. So
no, but I'm just saying like something that like allows those smaller teams to have a representative. I mean, that's why like the MLB All-Star game, even though it's a joke, but it's required that there is an all-star from each team
Hmm. Yeah.
because it gives that notoriety and that notice to that team. And obviously that player, but that player is the representative of that team. And they're like, wow, like I didn't know the A's had a good player. Well, yeah, Brent Rooker hit 30 bombs, had almost 100 RBIs.
Still pissed
Okay.
we let him go.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was on the Twins.
Yeah.
But that's my point is nobody knows who that guy is.
I guess the only
So
problem is you'd have, like I said, the holiday. Well, there's only one holiday tournament anymore, and it's the GLI. Because all the other
yeah,
ones have kind of fallen off. But you got World Juniors that usually picks, a majority of the
Yeah.
guys you would hope to see in something like that.
yes, but at the same time, that gives you the opportunity to bring the guys that didn't make the World Juniors.
Yep.
So so that gives you and this is that's actually even better, honestly, because you have a way to watch the World Juniors and watch those guys, and you're like, wow, this guy's on this team, this guy's on this team, this guy's on this team. They're all right there, and then either in between like games of the World Juniors or right before or right after, you have the college little all-star game skills competition where you can watch all the great college players that didn't make a World Juniors team or are too old to be on the World Juniors team. You know, like
That's exactly where I was going to go with it.
my
Where
my
there's
my
guys
senior
that
year, I was 25 years old. I was having a great year, but there was no like I could have been having an incredible year and never made a World Juniors team because I was too old.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're going to take some of those guys, but there's already a way to watch those guys.
yeah,
So
like
you put a collection of these guys that didn't make the World Juniors, but they're still very, very good players. You have that success of, wow, look at these teams and these guys from these different teams. And you could even do it in the same herky jerky way that the MLB used to do, which they're bringing back, which I actually love it, is you wear your home or away jersey. I love that. I hated when MLB switched to they wear the
All-star
special
jerseys.
all-star jersey, and it's like, bring back your home or road jersey. Like that was the cool part.
Yeah.
Looking out on the line. I mean, I remember watching because it was in St. Louis, the All-Star game that was in St. Louis, and looking out and seeing, wow, I
800
got Molina
jerseys.
behind the plate. I got Pujols at first. I got these guys that are on different teams all across the field that are all the guys that like I would normally hate because they play against them, and watching them all play on the same team, wearing the different jerseys. I think that's such a cool thing, and especially with the great uniforms of college hockey. I mean, sometimes pro hockey gets so watered down because it has to be so like everything has to be open to whatever. It has to be so monotone or so like into a box of this is our logo, this is our colors, this is it. I mean, if you were to look at our jerseys this year, which we switched away from the blue, they look like road hockey jerseys. They're terrible. Our black and our white jerseys are god awful. If you go look at them, and then you were to look at the jerseys that we wore last year, you'd be like, why? And nobody can have a reason.
Yeah.
But the
You guys
college
also do
hockey has
75
just,
million jerseys a year, though.
oh Jesus, don't even get me started. I hate how many specialty nights we do.
Hey, I'm just saying, if
And
there's ever a jersey with your name on it that ends up in like the recycle pile, and you want to just snag it and throw it my direction, I would gladly take it.
this is God, this is gonna sound
However,
self-serving, and I
however,
was like, this is
you
gonna
seem to
sound.
be like one of the favorite fucking players on the team,
I was
even
just
though you play the absolute least.
I was just about to say this sounds so self-serving, and it's not trying to be. I'm one of the favorites here, so I don't think that's gonna happen.
Oh, I'm aware. You know,
Um,
unfortunately, I follow every team you've ever been. I'm like, God damn it, how the fuck is this dude so popular? He never fucking plays. Also, to your team, please fucking play this guy.
trust me, that is the general consensus from a lot of people. Um, but you know what I'm most happy about, and I know this is gonna hurt a little bit, Wes. I'm so glad to be out of Kalamazoo because as much as I hate the specialty jersey nights, I would trade wearing a specialty jersey for we play 72 games. So what is that? 35, 36 home games, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I would wear a different specialty jersey for every single home game over ever having to play on painted ice ever again.
Hey, I'm not gonna take any offense to that because
I
one,
hated playing on my last year in Kalamazoo, I played on I think I counted it 6 different colors of ice.
let's see, they
We
do
had
orange,
we do orange,
lavender,
green, we do orange, green, lavender, pink, light blue,
What was the light blue?
rainbow.
When was the
It
light
was
blue?
like
God.
men's health or something.
Ah, okay. I
It was
remember
like
the
men's
rainbow
health.
one. That
And
was the
then
only one I didn't remember was the light blue one.
the rainbow one, they decided to put dark purple and blue next to each other.
Well, it's violet
And
and
it went from
indigo, and it's because that's how rainbows work.
Shut up,
yeah,
Wes.
shut up, Wes. No one cares. I'm not a mathematician here, okay?
I don't think that's math, but all right.
I was kidding. That was a joke. I'm not a scientist.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know the colors of the rainbow.
Listen.
Anyway,
It's not Van Gogh over here.
it was the worst part because it went from top of the circle to top of the circle.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't see the puck when it was in the what was it? Violet and indigo?
Yeah.
I couldn't see it in either one of those colors.
Game. I think I was at the game.
Could not see it. And I literally
that
told our guys going into the third period, I was like, if it's still a tied game, shoot when you're in that purple. Because I go, I can't see it. And if I can't see it, he can't see it. And we ended up scoring the game winner because one of our guys just flicked a wrister on net from the purple.
Yeah.
And the goalie's just standing there and it went right by him. And I was like, let's go.
Yeah, I don't really care about the K-Wings.
I know, but I was just saying I'm not in Kalamazoo anymore.
Unless there's a Western player, I barely follow. I literally only follow it to see if Vancouver has sent any of the Western guys down.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I'm just so glad I don't have to play on painted ice really ever again.
And then every time like 3 games go by and I don't see you on the starting lineup, I go check the transactions and I go, please don't let him be fucking cut.
No, I'm so I'm in a weird spot of that. Like my coach here loves me. Obviously, like the fans love me, and I've done very well.
Oh, it's just upper management that's not a fan.
It's just the fact that our affiliate is the Sharks, and they just keep bringing in goalies that aren't working, and then they'll have like 6 goalies in their system. So then they'll have 2 in the NHL, 2 in the A, and then they'll have to send 2 down here. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to try and move one. And my coach is literally here. And like this year, he's just been like, listen, you know it's going to come. You know your time's coming. You're playing great already. Just ride it out with me. Like he's like, I want you here. We love you here. Just ride it out because like the situation's going to change. I can't say anything because I do know insider information on that. Things are going to change. Your time is coming. Just ride it out with me. He's like, if I had and he said it to me earlier in the year because he needed me to do a favor on a game day for him. He's like, hey, I need you to do this for like, if you would mind. And I was like,
since you're not playing, can you go back and feed my dogs?
And I literally gave him a shot too. And I was like, yeah, of course. It's like, I go, yeah, of course. Not like I got anything else going on today.
Yeah.
and then like gave
Sounds
him a
awesome.
side eye, and he just started laughing, and then he like smacked my pads, and he's like, if I had my way, you'd be starting. I was like, I know. And so like it's a tough situation, but I'm in a good spot because like I know I'm gonna play games. I know down the stretch I'm gonna play, and just gotta stay ready. But it's mentally draining at times. Because like I said to you guys, I was about to make the road trip because there was still a guy up in the A because of an injury. So I was about to be going on this road trip that the guys are going on here tonight to Rapid City. And then he came back late last night, practiced today, and then making the trip. So I was like, cool, I'll just hang out in Wichita. But bright side, I don't have to go to Rapid City, South Dakota
Hey,
in
that's
December.
there you go.
Yeah,
You get to
it's
hang
not a
out
So
fun
in
place.
Wichita.
there's even less there than North Dakota.
I I spent plenty of time in Rapid.
Oh
There's
God, there's nothing.
which
Nothing.
the only downside is John can't come heckle the shit out of you.
Which
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
I mean, just means that, which is probably best because John is John. You might end up with something about liking broccoli again, or who knows, some weird shit.
I didn't even understand that. I still don't understand it.
I don't either.
I still don't understand it. Like that chirp still makes no sense to me. And I'm like, I trying to
I
think of it.
guess
I'm like,
where was that at? Was that Kansas City?
I think so.
I guess it's just because they eat a lot of barbecue and meat. So
I guess, but it was something like
How dare
Gorsuch
you like
likes broccoli. It
vegetables?
was
if
like
you're
Gorsuch likes broccoli, and I was like,
maybe
what?
they think
I
you're a
remember,
yeah. Maybe
I
they think you're a
remember seeing it in
vegetarian and not a real
warm-ups.
man.
I remember seeing it in warm-ups, and I was just kind of like, huh? Like, I don't understand that one.
Oh, maybe at the end of the year we'll see if my one of my cousins, she goes to Indiana. Uh she's doing online school this semester. She might go back, some medical stuff, but I think it was last year she went to a Fuel game and I was looking at your schedule and then I was like, "Oh wait, you guys play there at the end of the year up in
Yeah,
Indy."
we did last year.
And like so this year like end of schedule. I'm like, I know a guy that plays for Wichita, so if you go there, take some pictures. It won't be as great. I was sharing that wallpaper Wednesday when I was in Chicago. That bottom picture with you just like laying down,
Oh yeah.
like show my coworkers. I'm like, yeah, this is him. This is if you want to get an idea of his personality,
Oh, you want
just
to
look
know
at that one.
my personality? So we were over at the practice rink this week because
You guys
what did
can
we
afford
have?
one.
Well, Trevor's got to have
Uh,
some place to play.
the so the arena was being used for, let's see, I think there was a Justin Timberlake concert on Sunday. WWE was there Monday, and then they're getting ready for the rodeo this week.
Ooh.
So we were over at the practice rink. Well, the thing about this practice rink is that there is no insulation. Now, I signed up to play hockey. It's going to be cold. I get that. But when it's in the mid 30s outside, and then you go into the rink and it's even colder in the rink than it is outside, I am not in a good mood. And I wore a beanie today to practice, and I put my helmet on, and I took one step out of the locker room and I could just feel the tips of my ears freezing.
I hate
And
that
I
feeling.
said, and I go, absolutely fucking not. So I walked back in, I grabbed my beanie, I put it on top of my helmet, and I practiced all day with the beanie on my helmet because I was like, and somebody,
Does it
right,
do anything?
so it keeps the heat from escaping through the vents on the
Oh, okay.
top. So it actually just kind of keeps all the heat in and around. So like, yeah, it makes you sweat a little more. So you got to drink a little more water, but you're not freezing.
I
Kind of like
honestly just thought
tricks.
it was
It
like a
kind of
little.
like it kind of like tricks your brain into like thinking you're warmer than you are.
I just thought it was for looks,
Because
like when they
like,
do it in the Winter
yeah,
Classic.
I thought so too. And then when I played in the one outdoor game, like I had it on, and I was like, yeah, damn, this is actually kind of warmer, like on my head, because like it blocks the air vents that are on the
Yeah,
top.
makes
So you
sense.
still have the vents on the side, so you can hear and everything, but most of the heat that tries to escape out the top. So that beanie just kind of holds it all there. So it like just kind of like it's almost like putting a bowl over top of something when you're microwaving it.
Mm.
It just kind of
Yeah.
keeps it a little bit hotter. So I did that all day, and guys are like, "The hell are you doing?" I goes, "I'm fucking freezing out here." I was like,
It
I'm
What does it
frozen."
look like I'm doing?
it
I was like,
reminds me of.
if I could put a snuggie on, I'd be wearing a snuggie out here.
I would actually pay to see that.
That would be fantastic.
But
So
that it reminds me of youth hockey because there were a couple of rinks that they were we called them back rinks. Uh,
yeah,
and you'd go in the main building, dress in the locker room, and then you'd walk across the thing and it's -10 out. Well, it's a tin shed.
yep,
And
the old bubbles or whatever.
yeah, like you're just freezing.
Oh,
These are
yep,
like pole barns, and we'd play in those. And I, it wasn't as bad playing because at least you're moving in
moving.
a sense. But I had to ref a couple of games back there.
Oh, you're frozen.
My hands, they didn't work. The
Yeah,
whistle wouldn't even work. And you're like,
yeah,
what? Oh, okay. Um, well, thank God you guys are squirts, so I can just yell at you to stop because my
yeah.
whistle doesn't work, and you'll
But yeah,
listen to me.
yeah. It was that cold today that I was like, I'm not screwing around. I'm wearing the beanie out here.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be -5 here overnight, so there's that. And the heat didn't work in my office. I know, hard
Nice.
life.
You
It
guys,
was 55 degrees in my office, so yeah,
you
tough
guys say all
life.
these cold temperatures, and I've been watching a lot of just the dumbest things on YouTube. Like the one is a dude who likes to go cold weather camping in Alaska.
Outdoor boys.
I know which
Yes,
guy you're talking
yes,
about.
Yep,
outdoor boys,
yep,
dude. That looks so much fun. I'm not gonna
it
lie.
does. His most recent one where he like um just went and chopped down a bunch of trees and built a
That dude,
little wooden bench.
yeah, that dude works so hard to spend one goddamn night out in the woods that I'm like, dude, that's not even fucking worth it. If I'm doing this shit, I want to be out there at least like a weekend. He like hikes through blizzards and shit and digs giant
Oh
snow
yeah.
caves. Like,
And it's the most wholesome content ever.
dude, I just like I wouldn't even mind being like I like being cold. I like being cold more than I like being hot. It's like that would be so much
Yes.
fun.
Yes.
I've literally looked
But
at
there but there's a contingent to being cold. It's different if you're cold like in your house and you can put on more layers and be just content. But when you're cold and then you have people shooting vulcanized rubber missiles at you
you're not
and
wrong.
hitting
Also,
you and
Yeah,
you're
but you're padded.
frozen.
You're fine.
I had sense.
Oh, the pads are frozen. Like the chest protector is like it feels like it's made out of paper mache because it's so cold. Your body is cold, and
I
then it hits you, and you're just like, "Oh God, I want to fake an injury and get off the ice."
Sounds
Oh,
like
it's
me
like
running cross country.
I had
the
sense.
amount of
Looking
times,
over any stick that I can find to trip over.
yeah,
Oh, I
Yeah,
sprained my ankle.
the amount of times that like when we practice over there that I'm like, if we like in this early time that we have a three goalie rotation, the amount of times that it's crossed my mind to be like, "Well, I could just say I took a puck, like because I'm technically on the 14-day IR or whatever. I'll be on the IR. Oh, I took a puck, like hit me and like yeah, I'm hurt. Like I can't practice.
are you
Get
hurt
me
or are
off
you
this.
injured?
Yeah, get me off this freezing ice. Get me into the warm locker room.
Yeah, I've since discovered like developed. If my hands get cold, the rest of me gets cold.
Mm,
Really, really bad. So like even if it's like not super cold out, but if my hands start getting cold, the rest of me gets cold. So I have to keep my
oh,
hands warm. That kind of fucking
Or like
sucks.
Raynaud's or something in a
But
sense.
yeah, but it's just from fucking around and playing with dry ice and -30 to 90-degree freezers on a daily basis. Kind of comes up the jimmies.
yeah,
Sounds like a personal problem.
Work is work. I get paid enough to do it. I get paid enough to buy what season tickets to Western hockey. Which if those fuckers go up again, I'm gonna have to find a new place to sit.
that's crazy.
Uh, dude, I'm afraid of what they're gonna be like when the new barn gets built. But
I know nothing of this new barn. I know like it's being built. I know it's going to be near downtown. I'm
Dude,
really questioning on how it's going to work
so
because
it's
how
gonna
are you going to
be
get this? I'm just wondering how they're going to get the same student section and same level of
dude,
attendance and everything, because that's the big reason why students don't go to the football games. Is if they don't go to the tailgate, they don't go to the games because they don't
man.
want to. They don't.
More people
I
go to the
mean,
tailgate than go to the football game. Let's be
well,
fair.
yeah, but I meant like I was going to say this as from the student's perspective. If you go to the tailgate, you at least have a higher
Higher
probability
probability,
of going to the game. But
at
if
least for
you
the first
don't go
half.
to the, I was like, if you don't go to the tailgate, you're sitting there going, I'm not going to cross a major road to go to a game.
Yeah. Well, they sort of changed the tailgate area to be behind the football stadium, so you don't have to cross the road. Except they only do like a couple of ones in the rec parking lot now, so a couple of special tailgates over there.
Oh,
So there's still like the commune night still like at the track, and then
hmm
there's like one other one where they have like a concert type thing go before the game that takes place in the rec parking lot. But most of the tailgating is now either on the baseball softball fields or in the
hmm.
parking lots behind and up behind near East Campus.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I
uh,
think that's the problem
which
that
kind of hurt Waldo's a little bit, but whatever. Um,
UMD kind of runs into that with Amsoil being down where it is right on the water because
Yeah.
the it's a trek to get down there, and I think they could find an area way closer to campus, but then they shut down the major bar that was there because everyone Saturday nights were usually more raucous.
Yeah.
Because you go there and then you go to grandma's because walk across the bridge in the little canal and then go
Yeah.
party at grandma's, $2 beers and all that. Now that's just an event center. I'm watching these crowds and I'm just like it's just
Well, I
not
mean,
the same.
even
And
as a player, getting to Amsoil is like was like a quarter of a mile walk from the hotel, and you're like going through the walkways and everything to get there. And
yeah, because I
so
suppose you guys stayed on like Superior Street or something across the way.
yeah, I feel like if I remember it, like I don't remember the name of the hotel, but you'd like take the escalator up to like the second floor, and then you'd like walk across one of the walkways. Then you were like in a mall, and then you had to remember to like turn right or turn left, whichever way, and then you just walked for whatever felt like an eternity, and then you were at Amsoil, and you're just like, what? Like, I feel like I'm already getting a workout in before I play a game.
Yeah, I mean, we love our skyways, but
Well, yeah, because
I've
it's miserable there.
it
So
is. Uh,
it's miserable there. So you need the skyways so you guys can exist.
I was before I learned about the cheap light rail, I went to a Vikings game. I think it was the first year at US Bank Stadium. Parked next to Target Field. And I was like, I'll just take the Skyway. It's not going to be that far. I got so lost and I was so hungover. It was not a fun time. But I ended up getting there. And then I was like, okay, now I have to navigate back to my car.
Back. Yeah.
I think I got home at 7 o'clock at night because it took me that long to find out where I was going because I just
Oh,
don't use that.
yeah.
And I lived 15 minutes away from where I parked.
Jesus Christ.
Wes, you know this about me. Like it's not good. I'm a disaster.
Yeah, as Mike is saying in the chats, apparently there's going to be shuttles that go from campus to the new arena for the students and whatnot. But
Oh, they better pay those drivers a lot of money
okay, Trevor's
and
breathing. He's
have
just not blinking. I was like, did we lose Trevor?
Was I frozen?
Yeah. Well, no, you were
Oh,
just sitting extremely still, and I'm like, wait a minute. No, his shirt's moving. All right, we're good.
they
no.
better pay those drivers a lot of money and have really good cleaning crews because I think after the game it's gonna be a
I
lot
mean,
of mess.
I don't know. I mean, the students do a decent job of being
No, they're
not
young.
complete
They can still
animals.
hold it
Um, at least not animals in a negative way for the most part. There's nobody puking at each
Yeah.
other in the stands or anything anymore.
anymore.
Hey,
anymore.
it
Yeah.
has happened a time or two. Dude, watching a student section scatter because somebody threw up, it's so fucking funny. Especially on steel bleachers. Oh, dude, the worst. Then there was, I think this was before your time though. There was the fire alarm went off, and it had gone
Yeah,
off
I
like
don't.
because someone burnt popcorn, and like,
Oh, no, no, no. Mine wasn't burnt popcorn. We had the fire alarm go off in like the second period because they like
wasn't your
the
building on actual
roast.
fire? Oh no no no.
No, that was another one, but no,
Okay,
wasn't my building, but
which
no, it
building
was
you were
the
playing with?
roasted almonds.
Oh, those are
The
so fun.
roasted almonds or whatever, like the cinnamon roasted almonds or
Yes.
whatever. Those caught fire or whatever, and that set off the smoke alarms for when I was there. And that was my senior year. I remember that.
Yeah, no,
Um,
was it? This might have been last year the CCHA, but the student section started chanting "We will not be moved," which was just
idiots. I love them, but they're idiots.
yeah, dude, just fucking 300 college students. We shall not be moved. I was like, you guys are fucking dumb. Because they were
Yeah.
like,
What?
they were like, I swear to God, if this thing goes off one more time, everybody has to leave the building. And even the players were like, fuck that, we're trying to finish this game here, dude.
Yeah, we're gonna finish this. Like, yeah,
At
what you were
least
thinking of, Wes, was when the building was collapsing
Oh
due to
yeah.
a water main break a
Oh, okay.
couple years ago.
Complete opposite problem. Not
Yeah,
fire,
yeah,
water.
yeah.
but
Too much
think about
water.
it. If the fire alarm is going off, the players are probably the safest because you have ice.
Until the ice melts.
Well, the ice melts and then you have water.
Shut up.
Yeah, but we have knives on our feet, so we can't like clamber out
Run.
the stairs. We gotta sit there and untie our boots and then try to run
Or maybe
outside.
just put your blade sabers
Just
on.
sit in the middle of the arena.
But
And
Oh,
if the flames get
so
close, just
so we
water.
get encompassed by the smoke
yeah.
and die from the smoke
You
inhalation.
don't need your lungs. They're fine.
Oh, dude, that shit was so funny. And then
Think about how many World War II vets lived to be 100 years old with how much smoking they did. It's
I'm
fine.
not saying that. I'm just more going the concept. I'm just imagining a whole hockey team sitting at center ice, like fanning their sticks, trying to like get the fire to go away.
and then the DJ, you know, in his gloriousness was
Yep.
playing, you know, the roof is on fire immediately after they had solved
Oh,
the problem.
I think it would have been even better if he would have said this played the "We didn't start the fire."
I think that one did get
That
played too.
I was like, that one would have been better.
Was that they played both because I think they played "We Didn't Start the Fire" after the first time it went off. It went off like 3 times in like the second period.
Oh,
And that's why the student section after the third one was just like, "We shall not be moved." And it was like 10 minutes of this, and I was like, "This is the dumbest. You guys are idiots. I hate all of you, but I love it at the same time." That was back when the student section was good and paid attention and knew what was happening. Give them beer, and all they know is "Four's a bitch."
yep.
Oh, dude. First kind of called him out a little bit after Friday's game. He was like, "Hey, when Denver's in town, how about you guys don't chant overrated? Because they always seem to figure out how to either come back and make the game close or fucking beat us. So let's stop doing that, shall we?"
And they're kind of a good team.
He's like, they're never overrated. In fact, they're like pretty much always underrated, even if they're number one, because of the talent they have on that side of the ice.
I was like, yeah, that one's one of those. That was kind of like me with like North Dakota. Like, let's not chant overrated to North Dakota. Like,
Yeah.
they're pretty accurately rated.
But he straight up came out and said that during his post game on Friday, which is on YouTube, and it's hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
Second funniest post game comment by Fersh. First one's still
Yeah.
the Duluth game. Oh. How about that first 10 minutes? Well, I don't know what was going on in that first 10 minutes. Pucks were going everywhere. They were putting them in our net. We were putting them in their net. They were putting them in their own net. I don't know what that was, but it wasn't hockey.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't
yeah,
chant
you should
overrated
ask.
to North Dakota. Just chant smallpox blankets and see how well that goes for
That's not
for the
appreciated.
student section.
That's not appreciated either.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was not allowed to go in the student section. I did not do it,
I think
but
I think
that's
Wow.
why.
I think we've also done that one once or twice.
Wow, that's a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, UMD. That's when our student section was fun.
Oh my God.
You should ask Granger about scoring a delayed penalty goal when
God
Western was the
damn it!
team on the that the penalty was called on. I think he's credited with that goal.
I'm pretty sure he was.
But yeah.
So the
God,
penalty was against Western.
Yep. Duluth picks up the puck behind the net, and the kid trying to carry it out hits the goalie in like the calf and puts it in his own net.
and
And literally 6 goals are scored in the first 10 minutes of this game. It's like 3-3 after 10 minutes.
it
Wow.
it it
It
it
was
was.
a mess.
If you watched that first 10 minutes, you would not know you were watching a hockey game, a top tier Division 1 college hockey game.
You would think it's a joke.
It was so
Yeah,
bad.
it was so bad.
And
And
I think Western still found a way to lose that goddamn game. I think that's the one where
yeah, you did.
your player skates out of the penalty box and just streaks down the ice to score the game-winning goal at the end of the game.
And I'm trying to remember it.
Oh,
Maybe it
so
was
disappointing.
Sandberg. It might have been Sandberg, who I don't know how he's in the NHL.
First was livid, but that was the funniest
Um,
fucking post game ever. I think
but
I
I think
sent it
he
to
was the
you
one who shot.
I
at
think
some
you
point.
did.
But yeah, dude, that shit was so fucking funny.
I still, I there are some guys that you just watch and you have no idea how they made it to the show. And Dylan Sandberg is one of those players. He was the worst defenseman on our
Ugh.
team. And yet he plays for the Jets with Neil Pionk. But
Yeah,
I
that's an interesting one.
I want to say it was Sandberg that boinked it off his calf and goes in. And I'm like,
Dude, I don't remember. I don't even remember who the goal it was. I think that might have no, it wasn't Fanti. Was it? No, because I think it
no,
was the next year. I think it was like
I it was either Heason or Stay Skull.
yeah. I think it was Stace Call.
Probably. I think it was um
Shit was
because
so
that was
fucking funny.
before he had his diagnosis.
Oh man. That shit was so funny. There was another one that I was looking up that he had. First has had some like gold in the
First,
post game.
first is pretty blunt. I've only had a few interactions with First. Probably my favorite was the year after I graduated, or just after I graduated, and I played a few games for Toledo. I came back. I was still living in Kalamazoo for the summer training and whatever, getting ready for my rookie year. And I was out practicing with some of the guys, and it was First's year now as an assistant coach, still with behind Andy. And I come off the ice, and I was one of the last guys off. First comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, man, really appreciate you getting out there and like helping the guys." And I just kind of looked at him because he was talking to me as if I was like a fucking beer leaguer that just like went out there and just helped out. And I go, "First, you do know I'm an alumni and I'm going to play pro next year, right?" He goes, "Oh, fuck. Sorry, Gorse." Like, and I was like, "No, thanks, First. Like,
Uh,
I've only had like a few conversations with you, but like this was a good one." I mean, it was straight
Uh,
up like just
Now,
like
what
when
does
you
that
go up
say
to a guy
about
that
your
just
game?
well that or just how did I look like anything like I was just like actually I think what might have attributed to that was my sister was getting married that summer and I was letting my beard and my hair grow out because I was like, hey, it's your wedding. I want you to, if you want me to be clean shaven, I'm going to be clean shaven. I'll like get a good, like straight razor, get it nice and clean. If you want me to have a nice trimmed beard, you tell me what like style look you want for like haircut and whatever, because this is your day, your pictures. Don't care. Like, I'll do it. And so I had just like really let my beard grow out and I had like a little bit longer hair. And so I probably just looked like a fucking mess. and he was just kind of like thinking, this guy can't be a real player. So I was like,
Looked like you were .4 out there.
oh yeah, I looked like I was 9 beers deep. Like I looked like the guy that's 9 beers deep out there, but like, actually playing well. Um, so
So what you're saying is you looked like you were when you played for the alumni team in the alumni game.
yes, that was the same year. That's the only alumni game I've been back to because finally, Joanne Atkins, Dr. J, she finally ripped somebody because,
Is that the
uh,
one who always brings muffins or cupcakes or
yeah,
after sweeps?
yep. I stopped getting any kind of invitation, any kind of notice as to when like alumni weekend was. I stopped getting any of that. So for like 3 years or so, like I didn't get anything. I had no clue when it was. And people are like, hey, I didn't see it at alumni weekend. I was like, when was it? They were like, oh, it was this past weekend. I was like, no clue. So I was like, I don't know if I pissed somebody off and they're like, ah, don't invite him. I had no clue, but like was not invited for like 3 years. And then she finally was like, we're fixing this. And like I got like an actual like all the other alumni got like an actual like thing in the mail, like, hey, we'd love for you to come back to alumni weekend and this, that, whatever. And like I couldn't go this year because I was going on vacation, but I was like, hey, I actually got it this time.
Yeah, there you
Like,
go.
so, but yeah, that was the same year. So yeah, that was the same homeless beard and everything. Yep. Andy was livid. Andy was looking at me like, well, why is it clean shaven? Why? And I'm like,
I was
because
thinking
I
of the
don't.
year that I think you were a senior, maybe. And
No, my senior, I still had to be clean shaven. I
well,
played
yeah,
for the
but then,
alumni.
but wasn't there one where you like they were feeding you beers during the alumni game? That's what I'm saying. Like you looked how you felt that game.
No, that I think that was after because that was the one where you went out after and you were
Yes.
teleporting.
Oh yeah, that was no. So
No,
we're
there was
mixing
one.
stories.
Yeah, because there was
There were
one where
mixing stories.
you played
So
goalie
my
for the alumni team at one point while you were still a
oh I
student.
oh I played for him every year.
While you
All
were
four
still a
years I
student.
was on the yeah.
Oh, okay.
All 4 years at Western I was on the alumni team. Because so the first year was because Hafner and Olson were playing.
Mhm.
So Andy was like, they don't have a goalie, go play. I was like, okay. And then I beat them, and Andy was pissed because I won, and he was like playing his starters, and I won. So
Well,
then
to
my
be fair,
sophomore,
you also did have like a team full of NHLers in front of
oh,
you.
I did, but they were also loaded. So let's also be fair there.
Let's be
Um,
careful, Chris Osgood. Okay, you had a great team in front of you that wins don't count.
Still made me feel good. Sophomore year, I played for him again. That was the year. Sophomore year was the year that I was teleporting after the game
Okay.
Yeah.
because that was the year that Danny DeKaiser, because I like robbed somebody. I think I robbed Ike Capelli on the back door or whatever on like a one timer, and then we ended up winning the game because like I robbed him. So he was like, "You're coming out with me," and it was him, Witkowski, and a few others. So like then I'm just teleporting from bar to bar because I was just like, I don't know where I'm at. But it was I think the one you're thinking of, Wes, when I still had the big beard, was the only alumni weekend I was at, and that was after my senior year because I was still in town.
Okay.
Because that would have been the only time I had the big beard because I wasn't allowed to
Yeah,
any other time.
you guys were under Yankees rules.
Oh God, that's still one of my favorite stories with Andy was
I think they
end of
still kind
junior
of
year.
do it, other than November,
I don't know. I've heard different things.
or at least lip sweaters are in, because
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot more guys with stashes than there were in. And Fiedler always rocked a good one.
Yeah.
His frizz.
Um, but my junior year, we went to Duluth for our NCHC playoffs, and Andy hadn't been noticing anything I had been doing, like any of my hard work and practice, anything for the last like month and a half. And he hadn't noticed really all year. So I just said, fuck it. I'm letting my beard grow. I'm gonna, I kept it trimmed, like it was shaped nice and whatever, but like I was just letting my beard grow. I was like, I don't give a shit. And so we got just smacked the first game, like the Friday night.
That's one.
And we go in for the team meeting, and Andy's just ripping everybody and ripping how bad everything was and this, that, whatever. And then he looks at me and he goes, I want to see you in my, like, I want to, like, you're coming to the coach's room. And everybody's just looking at me, and I'm the only one with a beard. And I'm like, I know what this is about. So I sit down and he goes, are you trying to make a statement with that beard? And this is when I had kind of already hit the fuck it stage with Andy. And I just said, well, coach, you hadn't noticed anything I've been doing for the last 2 months. So I figured I'd do something that might catch your attention. And I thought Shayak and Krieger were going to fall out of their chairs laughing. I mean, they were doing like Mike's doing right here, just like biting their lips and like biting their hand, trying not to. But they were also just looking at me like, holy shit, Trevor just like basically talked back. Because I tried never to do that. I tried to just be the most guy, like go with the flow, do what I need to do, don't rock the boat. And I was just like, shit needs to change. And Andy just looks at me, pierces his lips, nods his head, and goes, well, you're backing up tonight. You better be ready, and that better be gone. I was like, okay. I walked out. I had my clippers. I brought my trimmer with me, trimmed up my beard, took a razor, clean shaved it, showed up to the game. I was the first one there. And he just looks at me and goes, okay. Didn't play, but we still got smacked. And then we had like a 15-hour bus ride from Duluth to back to Kalamazoo because Andy canceled our flight that we were supposed to have on like Monday and just said, nope, we're busing back. So,
Gross.
yeah.
Dude,
We were supposed to have a flight back, but he just canceled the flight and just said, nope, we're gonna bus.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna end it on that story because we were at an hour 45 on the pod, and that's a long one for us. But that seems like a great place to end it. Just the misery of a 15-hour bus ride.
Oh God.
Uh,
I started taking Snapchats and just chronicling like what was going on. I think at one point I like sat up and my entire spine cracked, and the guy sitting across from me looked at me and goes, did you just break your back? And I said, I think so. Because I was sleeping on the floor because that was the only thing that was comfortable. The seats were not. We were in a coach bus.
Yeah, those are not those. Hate those.
Yeah, coach bus. So I was just sleeping on the floor.
It's worse than a plane.
Yes,
Not by much, but it is.
it's close, but yeah, it's worse.
I figured out the best way to sleep on a plane though is to take your hoodie, turn it backwards, throw the hood over your head, and shove your elbows in the sleeves. You're just like this the whole time. You have the hood covering your head, so it's nice and dark in there.
I just put on headphones and I go like this.
Well,
I give the old Indiana Jones, just tilt my cap down and I just fall asleep.
Ooh, they are not good. Never
I was
mind.
drinking a.
I was gonna say, I wonder how Dave's doing at Northern Michigan. Not good.
No.
Oh no.
Oh, I mean, he had to build a whole goddamn team.
I think Miami might actually be doing better than
Oof.
they are 1-14-1.
Oh God.
0-9-1 in the CCHA.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
But I mean, like Mike said, he was kind of thrown in there late. At the end of summer, half the team had already left.
And then Patolny leaves. I think it was Patolny.
They were supposed to have Hampton and Grant Slukinski. They do not. We do. So
Sorry, I had to be happy about that.
sorry, Dave. I think they were already like Grant had already transferred out before Dave was the coach there. But yeah, no, Hampton Grant was already there, played his freshman season at Northern. Hampton was committed to go there so he could play with his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then the coaching stuff happened and guys started jumping in the portal left and right. And yeah, he basically had to rebuild that team in, like probably August.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a shocker to the system where Patolny, I think he's in the AHL. I can't remember where he went. But he got the job and he's like,
yep.
deuces.
All right, let's not Midwest goodbye the goddamn pod, okay? We can Midwest goodbye each other. We're not Midwest goodbye the podcast. We're gonna end this thing. Also, Mike says in the chat says that you are Western's Bert Kreischer, which I think that you have more class than Bert Kreischer.
Oh my!
But so, but that's the comparison that's being made. We'll end it there.
Wow.
All right, there's YouTube stuff. Again, I think you're better than Bert Kreischer, a better person in general than Bert Kreischer is. He's kind of fallen off here lately. But there's YouTube stuff. There's comments, like, subscribe, whatever the buttons are. I think we're like 51 subscribers now. That's cool. I think the last one to sub was still Brent's mom. So if she's watching again, hi Brent's mom. Thanks for all your support. Sorry Brent's not on here, but we have Trevor instead. So he was on the last episode with just me, and there was no mic. So
that must have been a real shocker of an event.
It was a great episode, honestly.
Probably on time too.
Ooh, you know.
Well, on time more than likely.
Trying to think. No, because there could have been baby issues. Reagan does cause a lot of issues. But anyway, again, we're not Midwest goodbyeing this, goddammit. There's Twitter handles around. I'm sure you've seen them by now. If not, just look harder, I guess. Until the next episode. Bye. All right, one last thing. Pucks on net. Good things happen like old horns and fight songs. Now goodbye.